I'm about to show you why Torta Ahogada from Guadalajara is one of Mexico's greatest icons. Hi everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. Sorry about the voice. I'm at the tail end of getting over a bear of a flu, but I've got something that I really want to share with you. You know, I've been sharing a lot about tortas, and there's this one iconic torta that I want to show you how to make. It's called Torta Ahogada. If you have ever been to Guadalajara, then you probably have eaten a Torta Ahogada. You probably would not forget it because it may have been one of the spiciest things that you have ever tasted in your life. But I'm going to deconstruct it for you, show you how to play with that heat to suit your own taste. But this is just an iconic torta that you have to know how to make because everybody is absolutely going to love it. So let's just put it together in our head. It's a carnitas torta, so made like a regular carnitas torta, a little smear of beans at the bottom, carnitas. We're going to put some pickled white onions over that. And then it's all about the ahogada part, which means drowned in Spanish. So you've got this tomato sauce that drowns the torta. And then, of course, what makes it spicy is this Arbol Chile salsa that you splash on everything. Sounds messy, sounds wonderful. We're going to show you how to maneuver your way through all of those parts of it. But the first thing I want to do is to make the pickled onions. So I've got some water here, about a half a cup of water, and I'm going to pour in a half a cup of vinegar. Usually, when you're making a pickle, it's going to be half vinegar in the United States anyway. Because of the strength of our vinegar, it's going to be half vinegar and half water. And then I've cut up a medium onion here, thinly sliced, and I'm just going to throw that into that pot while it's coming back to a boil here. And we have some Mexican oregano to put in there. This is the stuff that I bought at the Mexican grocery store. So it is in the whole leaf form with the buds and everything. So I'm going to crush it between my palms like that. Let that fall down on those onions. And then about a half a teaspoon of salt or so will be the right amount to go in this and season it. We can make these as a sort of fast pickle, but just so that you know, they will hold in your refrigerator for several months. It's a very simple kind of pickled white onion. Okay, so these guys, we got back to a simmer there. I'm just going to put them into a bowl, and we'll come back to them at the end when we are constructing our torta. Okay, so next thing that we have to talk about here is the sauce that we've got working. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to put a couple of tablespoons of oil into a pan, and then over kind of medium heat here, I'm going to put 8 cloves of garlic that are peeled, okay? And we're going to let those cook until they get kind of a rich brown color on the outside. But what I'm really looking for here is some softness on the inside. I don't want any of that raw garlic flavor to be there. So I'll meet you back here when these guys are browned. Okay, I know that you guys see me roasting garlic for a lot of sauces or even doing that quick microwave blanch to get the raw taste of garlic out of the dish. But sometimes it just makes more sense to saute the garlic. I know you guys know how to do that. But in this case, I'm trying to make it super easy for everyone. Cut down on steps and just saute the garlic. It'll be just great. Now, back to the recipe. Okay, these garlics now are beautifully browned and softening there. And I'm going to take the rest of this onion. We're going to build the tomato sauce here, very simple tomato sauce. And I want to make sure that my onions get completely soft and golden as well, because anytime that you brown something to go in a sauce, it's going to add a lot of depth, some sweetness, some complexity to it. So I'm going to meet you back here in just a minute with these as golden brown. Richly browned garlic and onions. I'll scrape those guys now into the blender jar. And because it's not tomato season where I live, I am going to use canned tomatoes. I'm going to tip off all of the juice here into the blender jar. And then what's left, these solids that are left in the can, I'm going to take about 2/3 of those. I'm saving 1/3 of it to make the Arbol chile salsa with. Just trying to make it easy for everybody to get through these various preparations now for this. Now, next thing that we have to do is to get a pan over a kind of medium heat here. And I'm going to blend this mixture. Very straightforward mixture that shouldn't surprise anybody at all. By the way, my tomatoes were the fire roasted ones. I just like working with them because I think they add a complexity, a nice complexity to whatever I use them in. And so I'm going to put this mixture now down into our pan over medium heat. You could do this over a higher heat if you wanted to, just to get it to come to a simmer. I'm putting this back. We're going to use this for blending our Arbol salsa in a minute, and I don't have to wash it at all. I've got 3 cups of good chicken broth here that's going to go into the pan. We'll come back and season this when it's simmered for about a half an hour. As I said, this is a very simple tomato broth, and think of it as broth. Okay, so partially covered. When this comes to a boil, I will reduce the heat to about medium-low and just let it simmer for that half an hour. Okay, now let's talk about the Arbol chile salsa. As you can see, there's nothing complicated about any of these preparations. It's just that there are several of them. Arbol chiles. So these Arbol chiles, I've taken the tops of them off. Sometimes when you go to your Mexican grocery store, you will find Arbol chiles that have the tops taken off of them already. But I will say there should be a red flag go up for you, because oftentimes those are the ones that are grown in China and imported to Mexico and then make their way to the Mexican grocery stores in the United States. They don't have much flavor. So look for the ones that have the stem, that big stem piece on there. Now, I've got my pan, same one, unwashed, that I did the onion and garlic sauteing in. I've got it back over a kind of a medium heat here. And I'm going to toast these Arbol chiles. Sometimes people go, why don't you just throw them into the blender? There's no reason to toast them. Boy, when you taste an Arbol salsa that is made with untoasted chiles, it's totally one-dimensional. When you toast them, and they don't take very long to toast at all, you will notice such a big difference. Now, what I'm seeing here is some little dark spots on the chiles, but I'm really smelling it. I'm smelling the fact that they are releasing this beautiful sort of spicy red chili aroma into the kitchen. Now, I don't want to burn them because that will add bitterness to them. So that's about it. Not even 30 seconds, I think, over the heat. And they're going to go into the blender jar. Now, you will remember that we had 4 garlic cloves that we took out from that first batch. Those are going to go in there. I've got about 3 tablespoons of vinegar, because we're making like basically a vinegary kind of hot sauce to go in here. And the rest of the tomatoes from the can. So we'll put those guys in there. And now we're going to blend that. Now, I would love to say that you could do this in a food processor, but I'll tell you that the skins of those Arbol chiles are really tough. So this is a place where the blender really does work out very well. I've got one thing that I forgot here. It's going to need a little bit of water to do this blending. So I've got 1/3 cup of water that's going to go in there. So turn it on. And I'm going to let this blend until it's completely smooth. This is a great salsa to keep in your back pocket. Well, not the salsa, but the idea, the recipe for it, so that when you have some friends over that like really spicy stuff, this is something that you can put on the table. It's great to drizzle on tostadas, tacos, whatever it is that you're making. I'm going to pour this back into this measuring cup here. And then I have to season it with salt. That'll take about 1/2 teaspoon, or no, it'll take about 1 teaspoon. This is something that you have to season highly. Remember, it's a condiment. If you can easily eat it off a spoon, it's not seasoned enough, because little drops of this are supposed to season the food. Okay, so I'm going to stir this now and then give it a taste. Remember, when you're tasting this, don't be cavalier. It's not a whole big spoonful of it. The way that people typically taste this kind of thing in Mexico is to put a drop on the back of your hand. And then, oh, it's spicy. Okay. Yes, now I can just feel my face becoming kind of flush because it is so flavorful and so spicy. Okay, when this has simmered for 1/2 hour, I will meet you back here with warm carnitas and show you how to finish these tortas ahogadas. Okay, it's all coming together now. I've got to season the sauce here, the tomato broth. So I'll stir in some salt here, but then I'm going to give it a taste to make sure. That broth that I was using doesn't have very much salt in it. So I have to be careful to actually season this very well. So there we go with that. Should be enough now. Yeah, I've got hot carnitas here. We have to make the super classic black bean spread that goes over, or it could be any kind of bean, but the bean spread that goes over the bottom layer of the torta. Think of it like mayo or butter or something that you would smear onto a sandwich. And I'm going to just use canned beans here. I'm just going to put them all into the blender. And then you can make these like fried beans, where you cook some onions and garlic and add these to it and mash it all up. I do a very hurry up version of that with canned beans. And then what I like to do is I have always got some bacon fat in my refrigerator. So I will put that bacon fat in here and just emulsify it in there. Because remember, this is just a spread. It's just to add that beautiful creamy note when you bite into your torta. So this will take just a minute, but I'm going to blend it until everything is emulsified together. Beans are seasoned, so we don't really have to come back and season this at all. I'm just going to leave them in there to scoop out a little bit to use on the torta. Next thing, we have to talk about the carnitas that I've got hot over here. Certainly, I've got a couple of different videos on different ways to approach making carnitas. Some of them super simple and really delicious. But use this as an opportunity to go to your local Mexican grocery store, go back to the carniceria, to the meat section, and I can guarantee you that most will have carnitas that they make in-house. So it's a great opportunity to go in there and to buy some, get to know those people and appreciate what they're contributing. So I have some carnitas here that are warm, and then we've got to talk about bread. Okay, so in Guadalajara, this is made with a very special type of bread called a birote. A birote is like a bolillo, but it's much crustier, and it's got a little bit more flavor. In fact, it seems very much like a demi-baguette. So if you've got a really good bakery near you that makes good demi-baguette, just go get that. You're never going to get the birote from Guadalajara, so get something that's sort of crusty, and it'll do the trick. Okay, so we have to cut this open. So you cut around what I call cutting around the equator. So I'm cutting it in half this way. And then, as in typical style torta making, people will grab some of the migas out of the center of it to make a little cavern here. So just take that out. Then with a spoon, I'm going to take a couple tablespoons of these beans and smear that on the bottom here. And then our carnitas will go over the top of that. So just pile them in there to suit your own taste, however much you want of them. And then those little pickled white onions that we made earlier, take those out of their pickling liquid and lay them on the top as much as seems right for you. And then we've got the top to go on this thing, and I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, so far so good. Everybody's with me on that part of it. It's a very simple construction there. But here's where you have to make your decision. Because in Guadalajara and other places like in Mexico City that specializes in tortas ahogadas, they will take that sauce and just cover this whole thing, put it into a deep plate and cover it with the sauce, and then splash on the Arbol salsa on top of that. Yeah, you can do that. The nicer places will give you a plastic glove so that you can reach in there and take your soaked, drowned sandwich and pick it up and eat it. It's really fun. I will say, I love that approach to it. But I've got another approach that I'm going to teach you, and it's what we do in our restaurant, Shoko, because this is one of the most popular things that we do. We instead sort of take a page out of the French dip style of a sandwich, and we take our tomato broth and we put it in a deep bowl. You could use something like a pasta bowl for this, and you put a lot of it in there. And so you've got someplace in the neighborhood, I'd say 3.5 or 4 cups of that. So you can see you're going to put 3/4 of a cup to a cup of the sauce in there. Now, next step is to take your salsa, your Arbol salsa, and put in as much or as little as you want of that. I'm going to stir it in there. Nice that when you order a torta ahogada that they will almost always ask you how spicy do you want it. So now we've got our spicy tomato sauce there. Then you take these guys and stand them up right like that. And it makes a really beautiful presentation. But it also makes a presentation that's super easy to eat, because you can have your drowned part of the torta that you just keep dipping back into that spicy tomato broth. This is something you gotta try. You've got to experience the whole thing. It is an icon in Guadalajara. I know you're gonna fall in love with it.